Hey everyone, welcome back. Rachel, how's it going?
Good. Really excited about this one.
So let's kick things off with the heart of it all, the CyberArk Vault. What exactly is it, and what makes it so central to their security solution?
It's the central brain. Think of it as the ultimate secure safe for everything sensitive.
A safe for, like passwords.
Exactly. Passwords, usernames, certificates, even confidential business documents. Anything you need to keep absolutely secure.
So it's not just for credentials then.
No, it's broader than that. Any file, any detail that's critical to your business, it goes in the vault.
And when you say secure, what does that actually mean? How does it keep everything so safe?
Well, the biggest thing is automatic encryption.
So everything stored there is encrypted by default.
Yes, automatically. Even if someone somehow managed to steal the data from the vault, it would be useless without the decryption keys.
Wow, so it's encrypted at rest.
Precisely. It's designed so that no one can just peek at the data, even with physical access.
That's a pretty strong foundation for security. It's literally the heart, because everything else connects to it.
That's why it's so critical. All of CyberArk's other components rely on the vault for their sensitive data.
So it's the heart, but how does it actually secure all that sensitive data?
That's where its core security features come in. First up, encryption.
Everything in the vault is encrypted.
Automatically. All data is encrypted, meaning even if someone somehow got their hands on the raw data, they couldn't use it without the decryption keys.
That's a huge layer of protection.
Absolutely. It makes stolen data useless. And then there's role-based access control, RBAC.
RBAC, so permissions based on job roles.
Precisely. Think of it like this. A manager gets higher permissions than, say, a level 1 engineer.
So directors would have top-level access, and analysts would have more limited access.
Exactly. You assign permissions to roles, not individual users. It simplifies management and ensures people only access what they need to.
So it's not just about encrypting everything, but also controlling who can even try to access it.
Yep. Granular control is key. It's security in layers.
Layered security, I like that. So we've talked about how the vault secures data with encryption. And RBAC, how does it actually communicate securely?
That's where its internal firewall comes in.
An internal firewall. Wait, like inside the vault itself.
Exactly. It's built right into the architecture.
Wow, so it's not just relying on the operating system's firewall.
No, it adds an extra layer.
And how does that work?
It only allows connections through a very specific port.
Okay, which port is that?
The default is 1858.
1858, got it.
Or 443 if you're using HTTPS, which is more secure.
Oh, so 443 for web traffic makes sense. But 1858 is the standard CyberArk one.
Yep, for its proprietary communication.
And that's a TCP port.
Yes, TCP.
So if that port isn't open between my client machine and the Vault server,
Login attempts will just fail. No access.
it's like a bouncer at a club, only letting you in if you know the secret knock and you're on the list for that specific door.
Precisely. And that's how it ensures only legitimate expected traffic gets through.
That's a pretty robust setup for security, right from the core.
It's fundamental to its secure design.
So if the firewall needs to be set just right, what else do we need to have ready before we even start installing the Vault?
Good question. There are some key prerequisites. First, the operating system.
Windows Server, right?
Yes, specifically Windows Server 2016, 2019, or 2022. And you'll need .NET Framework 4.8.
Okay, so OS and net. What about network stuff?
The Vault server needs to belong to a workgroup for a standalone installation, not a domain.
Interesting, so files then. Do we just download one thing?
Oh no, several things. You'll need the server files, client files, something called operator keys, and a license file.
Operator keys, what are those?
They're crucial. They contain the server key, some random initialization data, and a recovery public key. The Vault won't even start without.
No way, so you absolutely need those.
Absolutely, and the license file is mandatory too, otherwise no installation.
So it sounds like a checklist. OS, net, workgroup, and then all these specific files. Server, client, operator keys, and license.
Precisely. If you're planning for disaster recovery, you'd also need DR files, but that's an extra step.
Got it, so this is all before you even click install.
Exactly. Preparation is key for a smooth setup.
So we've talked about the vault itself. What about the services that make it tick?
Right? CyberArk has several essential services. There's the event notification engine.
For alerts, I imagine.
Exactly. Then the logic container, which holds all the master policy and settings.
Like the brain of the operation.
Pretty much. And the hardened Windows firewall, which is a big one.
Hardened, what does that mean?
It basically takes over the native Windows firewall. It closes all unnecessary ports, except for the communication one we mentioned.
The 1858 one.
You got it. It's part of the hardening process, making the server super secure.
So it locks everything down automatically.
Yes, it dramatically limits network exposure. Another key service is the PrivateArc Database, which is an internal MySQL database.
An embedded database, that's interesting.
It's how the Vault communicates with its own data. Then there's the remote control agent.
Like TeamViewer for the Vault server.
Spot on. It lets administrators remotely manage the server.
And what else is involved in hardening?
Beyond the firewall, CyberArk disables services like Windows Update, Windows Module Installer, and Windows Installer Service.
To prevent unauthorized software installs.
Exactly. It's all about minimizing the attack surface.
That makes total sense for such a critical system. So after all that prep, how do you actually install the CyberArk Vault?
It's pretty structured. First, gather all your files.
Files meaning like server, client, those operator keys we talked about.
Exactly. And your license file. Get them into a CyberArk software folder on your virtual machine.
Got it, then what?
Enable remote desktop on the server. That's key for remote access during installation.
And probably set a static IP address, right?
Absolutely. Then, if it's a VM, install VMware tools for better copy-paste and integration.
Makes sense. So once everything's ready, then you run the server installer.
Yep, as administrator. You'll specify your company name, choose standalone for this type of installation, and point it to your license and operator key files.
And I'm guessing there's a part where it asks about hardening.
Oh yeah, accept those prompts. They're critical for security.
What about default accounts, like master and administrator?
Etherpad passwords during server installation, they have to be strong. If not, the installation will actually fail.
Wow, so no weak passwords allowed at all.
None. Then you install the client, pointing it to your server's IP address.
And finally, a restart.
Always. That completes the process.
So after all that setup, we have these crucial default accounts. Tell me about the master and administrator accounts.
The master account is like the super emergency key. Full unbridled access.
Emergency only.
Exactly. Use it when nothing else works.
And the administrator account.
That's your day-to-day management, what you log in with normally.
Both need strong passwords, I bet.
Absolutely. Weak passwords will halt the whole installation.
Wow, so it's really strict right from the start.
Security is paramount with CyberArk.
Speaking of installation, you mentioned PrivateArc Server and Client. What's the difference?
Think of the PrivateArc Server as the actual Vault application itself.
The brain.
Precisely. It's what holds all your sensitive data.
And the client.
That's the tool administrators use to connect to and manage the vaults.
So the server is the vault itself, and the client is how you open it.
Perfect analogy. The server lives on your dedicated machine, and the client is what you install on your workstation.
Makes sense. Two separate pieces doing different jobs.
Right. One stores, the other lets you access and control.
So you install the server first, then the client to manage it.
That's a workflow.
Wow, so much to unpack with CyberArk Vault, from security features to getting it up and running.
Absolutely. We talked about it being the heart, securely storing everything, right?
Yeah, the central hub for credentials, certificates, all of it, encrypted automatically.
And that encryption is key. Even if someone steals the data, it's useless without the keys.
Plus RBAC, so everyone only sees what they need to, not everything.
Exactly. Role-based access control. Keeps things tight.
And that internal firewall, port 1858 or 443, making sure only authorized connections get through.
It's all about limiting the attack surface.
We also covered the prep work. Windows Server, Net Framework, those operator keys and license.
Essential for a smooth install. Can't skip those steps.
And the core services, like the event notification engine and the logic container, keeping everything humming.
Which ties into the hardening. Disabling unnecessary ports and services.
So it's really locked down from the start.
That's the goal, secure by design.
Then the actual installation process. prepping files, running installers, and those crucial strong passwords for master and administrator.
Super important. Weak passwords will halt the whole thing.
And understanding the PrivateArc server versus the client, the actual vault versus the management tool.
It's a complete ecosystem designed for top-tier security for your most sensitive data.
It really highlights how crucial it is to secure those digital keys to the kingdom. All right, I think that covers it.
Yeah, definitely.